week on Raw, gentlemen. There's no easy way to put this. We saw a earth-shattering kaboom, as Jimmy might say, with Goldberg returning to challenge Gunther for the world title at Saturday night's main event this weekend in Atlanta, which they're billing as Goldberg's retirement match, Jimmy. So, what are your thoughts on this? Obviously, a lot of people have already been put their 2 cents in.
I don't have a problem with Goldberg getting a retirement match per se. My only issue is why does it have to be a title match? That's all. You know, I get it. He has an issue with Gunther. Him and Gunther got into it about what, 7, 8 months ago? I don't remember how long ago it
Yeah,
was.
about 8 months ago.
About 8 months ago. And correct me if I'm wrong, was that in Atlanta as well?
Yes.
Yes, it
So
was on
now they're
Raw.
coming back to Atlanta. So I
Bad
understand.
blood.
Yes, bad blood. I understand having that match in Atlanta, but I just don't like the setup for it. It's just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Goldberg, bang, the music hits, great reaction for him, which he always gets. He always gets that great reaction. And I know a lot of people online, here we go, oh, he was all blown up when he got there. He wasn't blown up. People, there's a difference between when you get that nervous energy again, you start sweating. That's what it was. He was starting to feel that again, that nervous energy he wanted to deliver. That was fine. I didn't like Monday night where they had him sit down with Michael Cole. I guess not bringing him in for Raw. That was probably the issue. But at the same time, I don't even know how to explain how I feel about this because I'm of two thoughts of mind here. I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea for him to have his retirement match. Yes, Gunther makes sense, but now that Gunther's the world heavyweight champion again, what do you do? What do you do? Does he defeat Gunther for the world championship?
So, I mean, you could have him do that. I was not. I was one of the ones we talked about in our group chat. I was one of the ones that was not offended or cared less that he was. I love the fact that he was back. I wasn't the one that going crazy about it being Goldberg and having this match, and the fact that it was a title match. I was like, guys, at any time Gunther can defend his title whenever he wants to anybody. It doesn't have to be, you know, Adam Pierce or Nick Aldis or anybody saying this is what title match this he deserves it for this reason or whatever. Yes, I know it obviously would make, maybe make a little more sense or whatever for some people. But if now granted this didn't happen, but if Gunther, we just have to assume that Gunther went to the back and said, I want to defend my title against him now, and walks off. And then there it is. That's what it is. Like we don't need to video that. We don't need whatever. I mean, there's that's what happened. As far as your comment earlier, Jimmy, about Goldberg, I've seen a lot of people saying that, oh, Goldberg slipped on the ropes because he almost stroked out or whatever. He's owed. Guys, have you ever wore slick cowboy boots and try to step on ropes? It ain't gonna happen. He wasn't
Mm.
prepared, so that's why he slipped because it's very slick. I've seen it happen at OVW. I've seen it happen at TNA. I've seen guys wear slick shoes and they realize, oh no, it's not like I'm have a grip on the shoes. That's why he slipped on that one rope. By the way, it was the cowboy boots, not because he's old. Um, he could probably beat your ass anyways because if you call him old, because I'm pretty sure he's still better shape than most of you. Anyway, sorry, I just went on a little tangent there. But but I think this is good. I mean, it's in Atlanta. It's going to be good. I did notice that I think if Goldberg was there, he would have got a better response. I think that with Gunther cutting a promo on Raw the way he cut it, he kind of had the crowd behind him
Hmm.
instead of him booing him. And I think that was because Goldberg wasn't there. If Goldberg was there and he said those things, they would have probably more booed because Goldberg um, would have probably got in his face or whatever, and it kind of would have eliminated that. So that was my only downfall of you're making Gunther, whatever you want to call him, the baby face here when it should be Goldberg. So that was my take on he should have been there in the person and
Hmm.
not that video.
Okay, so Daniel, I have some questions for you. They're going to be
Yeah.
like, I want you to just answer. Don't
Yep.
go in depth. Just answer.
Yep.
Who made this match?
It could have been Gunther. It could have been Adam Pierce. It could have been Nick Aldis.
No,
Don't
no,
know.
No,
no.
but
See, you're not answering the question.
the
Yeah.
answer is I don't know.
Yeah, I
Correct.
don't know. Yeah.
Okay. That's my first issue. My second issue, and I'm asking you questions.
Okay.
What's the need for the title? Why be even title?
Because Gunther's a champion and he needs to defend it.
Why would he want to do that? Why at all? It makes no sense.
To show that Goldberg's nothing and he can take him whether the title's on the line or not.
Okay. So Bubba Dudley, Rock and Roll Express can walk in at a Monday Night Raw and whoever the tag team champions are and say, you said this years ago because it was 8 months ago. And now you want to address it 8 months later, like it's fresh in everybody's mind, and say, you're next. And he gets a title shot. So
only if the champions want to defend the title against him. That's the key in all this. It's not that he walked in and just gets one. It's the fact that we have to assume. Now I know that we didn't have this on air, but we have to assume that Gunther, as the champion, went to the back and said, "I want to defend my title against him." If he says next, and I want to put my title on the line. Just to show that he's a fighting champion and a badass. So that's what we have to assume.
Daniel, you can't.
Okay, then show us that.
Exactly. You can't assume.
But I understand. But that's what but I get that. But that's let me ask you a question. If he did that, would you be okay with it?
Definitely. 100%, because there's reason behind it.
Okay.
Not just a graphic pops up after they have this face off, and then all of a sudden it's just announced that he has a title shot. All right, well, show me why the graphic popped up. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
No.
Just tell me why the graphic popped up. Tell me why we had that graphic to begin with. Tell me why there's a title shot. Don't just tell me there's one. There's no reason for one. So why have tournaments to have number one contenders and all that kind of crap these guys have to fight through on a monthly basis? And then this guy walks in because he's getting ready to retire and gets a fucking title shot. It makes no fucking sense to me.
Now, if I'm understanding correctly, though, the number one contender spot for the King of the Ring, King, Queen of the Ring, they can take on any title at any time, not just one, right? They get to pick.
I know, but which one do you think they're going after? Ultimately, come on. I mean, you know what I'm saying. Well, use yours. You have to assume they're going to go after the world title.
That's the problem when you leave the fans up to assuming things. You have to sometimes spoon feed them exactly what's going on. I know a lot of people like to guess and I do too. I like guessing a lot of times, but at the same time, I also like to be given the proper reasons as to why things are happening. Even if it's not right away, it's not apparent right away. But we've had two interactions. Well, not interactions, but we had the interaction last Monday night, and then this following Monday night. They could have explained it further.
They could have, and I wish they would have a little bit. I would have rather loved him to say, he cut a promo and said, "Look, I went straight to the back and told Nick Aldis to make this a title match because I want to." Yeah, he could have easily done that,
and we don't know, and we wouldn't have had this conversation, honestly, Daniel.
And we don't know if, and I'm not. I mean, because there's no, we don't know because the reports don't get out as much as like they used to. We don't know if there was a segment where this was explained or set up and they cut it and for TV time and they just went whatever, because even though they're on Netflix, they're still trying to keep everything within 2.5 hours. So we don't know if maybe possibly they did that. Now, granted, Liv Morgan's injury kind of made them have more time to fill. So who knows? But we don't know if that happened too as well. Right. So,
all right. So Daniel, one more thing.
Yep.
And I'm only addressing you because you're the only one that's kind of like trying to say that
I'm the only one that's not bent out of shape over it. Yeah,
I'm not bent out of shape.
I meant in the everywhere. I didn't mean you guys.
Okay, so I'm not actively in the business anymore, right?
Right.
I am trying to enjoy and absorb this as a fan now, something I've never done. So ever since I've been gone, which is 3 years ago, 3.5, whatever it is, okay, I'm trying to absorb all this as a fan. I have a lot of hookups, as you know, Jimmy knows. Shit, at this point, RJ knows that I can call, get dirt, and all this stuff. I don't want to. I want to sit back and enjoy it as a fan and talk about this every week. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have know-how. And what I'm saying is this is a very frustrating story that means absolutely, I'm sorry, guys, fucking nothing to me. Other than the match, great. I'm not saying I'm not looking forward to it, but it could have been so much better. It could have been so much more lead up to it, to where to me now, I mean, I'm not bent out of shape, as you said, Daniel. And I mean, you're still in the business. So you're actually seeing where you can say, well, you have to assume. No, fuck that. I'm not assuming shit. Tell me that as a fan, because that's what I am right now. I'm a fan.
Okay, so tell you, all right.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not
No,
mad at you.
no, I'm not saying
I'm
you're
mad
mad.
at. I'm mad at why this story has.
I don't even care if you are or not. So
Okay.
here's the thing.
There you go.
Hey, Earl. So so here's the thing though. What you say about the story, I'm not really into whatever. But imagine if Goldberg wins the title.
I could give two fucks.
You know what make me happy about that?
Because now what?
The thing that would make me happiest about that is watching everybody lose their shit online.
Lose
That
their
would
shit,
make me
but hey, guess what? It's very simple. Goldberg beats him, and in a Goldberg fashion, Gunther gets pissed, beats the crap out of him. All of a sudden, here comes Braun Breaker. Here comes Bronson Reed. They beat the shit out of him too. And next thing you know, Seth Rollins cashed in, gets the title, and you protect Gunther the entire time because Seth Rollins didn't cash in on Gunther. He cashed in on Goldberg, and there you go.
I mean, that's all fine though, Daniel. And they better go. They better do some shit like that, because otherwise, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Man, we spent a lot of time on this.
So I have one more thing, and then we can move on because I want to get your guys' thought on this, because this has also come up in a few sources that I saw. What are your guys' thoughts on the possible cash in with Seth Rollins say Goldberg defeats? Actually, it doesn't really matter. Say Seth Rollins cashes in on either Gunther or Goldberg after the match on Saturday night.
Well, Saturday night's main event on July 12th, but yeah.
July 12th, excuse me. Yeah.
I mean, I just brought it up. I just said that was probably what was going to what could happen, which, you know.
Well,
it's going to happen.
Again, if there is a cash in, it all depends on how and on who. On Goldberg, if he were to win the championship, it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
If it's Gunther, that becomes interesting now, because is this the sign that, because people kind of in the back of their heads want to cheer Gunther, but they can't because he doesn't allow them, the way he's so good on the mic, and he conducts himself in front of the crowd. Right. But could this be a sign where maybe there's a slight change of attitude with him?
Maybe. I mean, speaking of attitude and speaking of champions, what about our other champion on champion on SmackDown?
Dropping pipe bombs all over the place on Friday Night SmackDown, Daniel. It was fun to see.
I loved it because it literally was almost 14 years to the date. Literally within a couple days, I believe. June something 2011 to June whatever 2025.
End of June.
Yeah. That they recreated it, and I thought the way it was done. Here's the other thing. I talked with someone that was responsible for training, say, a CM Punk in his career this weekend, how they made a table, going through a table made it mean something. Punk sit there and now Punk did that, or Cena did this 14 years ago, but Punk sitting there through that table like it actually hurt, and it destroyed him for those 7 to 10, whatever, how many minutes it was he was in that position. And that's where you get a table spot over. That is where, instead of, going through the table, rolling it in, kick out at one, the guy jumps up and does a, twisting, burning 450 hammer Phoenix splash, So,
whoa. Yes. There we go. He got that one.
That was for Jimmy.
I'm going to be with you on this for once, I guess, Daniel. I loved it. I thought it was
amazing,
done incredibly well. And who else could pull it off better than John Cena?
Hi, Nick Nemeth. Hi, Matt Cardona.
Hey, I don't get the Matt Cardona reference though.
Okay. The Matt Cardona, everything. CM Punk several years ago, before WrestleMania 28, had an interview with Peter Rosenberg. He was wearing at the time a Cesaro T-shirt, Claudio Castagnoli.
Right.
And then he referenced Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler. In the interview, he referenced Dolph Ziggler and Zack
Zack
Ryder
Ryder.
needing to be elevated, or whatever the terminology you want to put.
The
Should
workhorses.
be highlighted more.
They were the workhorses. They were the ones busting their ass, but yet they
Right.
got pushed to the bottom, and
Yes.
other people got
Yes.
lifted up. Yeah.
So that's why, instead of using their past working names, he used Claudio Castagnoli, Nick Nemeth, and Matt Cardona, their real names.
But also, if you go back to when Punk did it, when he referenced the fourth wall and he said Colt Cabana was never Colt Cabana in WWE.
Right.
He was I can't think of his name now. Anyways,
I'll
whatever name he was.
look it up.
Yeah. So he didn't he referenced Colt Cabana, his indie
Mhm.
name at the time, and his indie name before then, before he
Oh.
became whatever it was like it
Scott
wasn't
Goldman.
Scott Goldman. Yeah, it was like a
Scotty
but
Goldman.
Scott Goldman, I think, is his real name.
What a
isn't it?
generic name.
Colton, maybe. Scott Colton?
Scott
Scotty
Colton is his real name. That's right. Yeah. Anyways,
But again, the conspiracy theorists online tried to paint a different picture, thinking Nick Nemeth and Matt Cardona were kind of a backhanded shot at Nicholas and Matthew Jackson.
What?
no, it wasn't. It was
I
literally
know it
just
wasn't, but everybody's trying to connect those dots only because he said Claudio Castagnoli, who is an AEW talent.
So
Yeah, I
and
know
the other
exactly,
fact
but
here's
everybody goes,
here's the other fact. Those
"Ooh."
three guys he named, Cena actually talks to weekly on a regular basis. Him and
Right.
Cesaro used to work out together. They probably still do. And
Mhm.
he's still I have it confirmed that the other two talk quite often with John Cena. So it's it's a reference to his friends, but also reference to what you're talking about in the promo, the interview from years ago, and the fact that those were the workhorses from those days,
Right.
and all that stuff. So it's all comes together.
well,
All the parallels. Yeah.
well, real quick, if Matt Cardona is a good friend of John Cena's, which obviously you said that you've heard whatever. Well, he's a horrible friend. He should have got him back to WWE a long time ago. That guy's been gone a long time, man. Golly, get his ass back in there.
I
Jesus.
think Matt's okay where he is right now. He's said in interviews plenty times that he's making more money now than he ever did in WWE with
He
all
is.
his ventures outside of it and that sort of stuff. So I think he's doing good.
I had a
But
weekend with him, and he confirmed to me that he is doing very, very well. He didn't
but
mention numbers, but you know
yeah.
what I'm saying.
But back to the promo, you guys are right. It was freaking brilliant. The entire thing, all the parallels throughout the entire promo. If you go back to the 14 years ago, and little things that he said that, he's buddies with him. It's not like Drew who hates him, and it's not like Seth who's obsessed with him and all that kind of stuff. Every note he touched was great.
Yep.
And the little touch of sitting on top of the turnbuckles and doing it, and every once in a while throwing out the word, bullshit, which oh my God, look at that! I'm breaking down the fourth wall, and he's tapping the mic and doing all
Mhm.
that. Every little thing he did was just. My only concern now is how does he top that?
That is good.
It's gonna be tough.
I'm sure he'll find a way though. He's that good.